Morning all, tcDetects back out again. We are in this field that you can see the drone going around. We were here last week and we found a lot of buttons. We're going to try to do some different areas of what is in it. An incredibly large field, to be honest. Probably got this until spring, so it's going to be planted until then. And we are out with the Legend today. And the reason we are out with the Legend is because we are also out with the new pinpointer from Nokta, the Accupoint, which connects wirelessly to or via the Legend. So we have the Nana, you can probably guess why it's called that, with us today, and the Legend to try the wireless functionality and see what it's like in the ground on a field test. So without further ado, we're going to go that way and that way and then that way and then that way. Try not to get too muddy. See what we find. Thank you as always for watching tcDetects. Much appreciated. So first find, been walking about 3 minutes, is a broken pewter button. So picking up where we left off last week. Doesn't always mean what you want it to, but found an oyster shell or the remains of one in the field. Sometimes indicates Roman. Sometimes just indicates that people with more money had a picnic in the field back in Victorian times. No evidence of Roman on here that I'm aware of in the past, but hey, never know. And next up, from about 2 inches down, very strong signal, sort of mid 40s, and it's this thing, which is dead easy to identify. It's an inspection plate of some description. According to the writing, it says inspected by Poltex 2009. So conveniently dates itself as well. Struggling a little bit to dig anything live or even semi-live just because it's so muddy, but we've got a signal that came out of that hole. It's in that clod there in the mid 40s. Seems decent. Let's try and do this one live. Use the pinpointer. One thing I am loving about the pinpointer, and I've never had one that goes through the headphones, is the fact that it goes through the headphones because I'm a bit deaf. So the fact that it goes through the headphones means I'm hearing it a lot better, and I've got none of the ambient noise around it interfering with the pinpointer noise. It's in here somewhere. Yep. Ah, it is literally another one of those inspection plates. 2. How many of these do I need before I have a order of inspection plates? Inspected by the same people in 2009. So whatever it was they were inspecting, they inspected at least 2 of them. And next up was in the mid 20s. Not too far from the surface, probably about 2 inches down. Thought it was a button when it first came out, because obviously it's me, so buttons. But no shank or anything. And it's got sort of like a domed with a, not to be carry on about it, but with a nipple on top. I think it's a cat or something, or being the top of something. Anybody got any ideas? Please put it in the comments. And we have moved over onto this tree line. We're at the top of that field earlier, been along, but it's so claggy. I thought I'd give myself a break and come here where the ground is a little drier, probably because it's been soaked up by the trees. So we're walking along, we go up and down here just to see. Also had first coin of the day, which is a Victorian halfpenny in very nice condition. And next up is this sort of roundy thing. Maybe it's had something to do with irrigation or what, or something like that. Well, actually, is that the top of, that's something like old green waste? Is that be the top off a gas cooker? Bit that they is underneath when you put the pan. And next up is the first one of these today. A little buckle, very small buckle in fact. Bringing in a decent signal about 4 inches down in the mid 30s. Yep, there you go, a little buckle. Morning all, tcDetects back out again. It is a very wet morning in late October, however it is very mild, and at the minute it's dry, as in nothing coming from up there. And we're out on a new field on my newest permission, not been on here before. The field that you can see the drone going around right now theoretically had some buildings on here 100 years ago. So we're going to sort of move around here so we can find. Out with the Versa today, testing beta version of new software. So watch this space for more details. If you hear it making weird noises, probably because I'm looking at the beta version of the software. Timescales for that software, I'm not sure yet. We're doing a beta test on it as we speak, so we're looking at how long that will be after we've given that feedback. So it could be a couple of months yet. So watch this space for details of new software for the Rutus Versa. So, as I mentioned, there's buildings and stuff in there. You can see lots of brick, debris, bits of pottery, bits of blue glass and stuff. I think the buildings were sort of taken down in the 50s or 60s, but how far back they went, I'm not sure. Maps at about 100 years show them on, so maybe they were here for a while before that. Anyway, so first signal, first proper decent signal. High 70s, early 80s, decent line. Down there, see what we find. And flips it out, somewhere down here I think. See how the loud the Accupoint is, or can be if you want it to be. And we have this thing with decent signal, copper pipe part of one, something like that. So it's on the edge to that, but yep, there you go. First decent signal, first thing. The soil is very claggy like last week, but we've had next signal, which is in the sort of mid 50s. Square thing, about actually quite deep, it's about 8 inches down. Suspect it was attached to something like a plaque or something like that. Found a couple similar but not as old last week, which I think had been attached to telegraph poles. No telegraph poles near me, so not sure what that was attached to, but yeah, a plaque of some description. So the new Rutus software got released to the beta testing team yesterday. So updated it using the wireless Wi-Fi update method that's I think unique to the Rutus Versa and Atrex. And then I'm in the middle of a field, a muddy field, very wet everywhere, but field nonetheless. When a message pinged through to say Rutus had just pushed out another little tweak into it. So I'm in the middle of the field with the software that I put on last night when there's a little tweak. But because the Rutus Atrex and Versa has Wi-Fi software update capabilities, I downloaded the file in the middle of a muddy field to my mobile phone and then updated the Versa in the middle of the field. So I'm now running on the new software for the Versa and give feedback back to Rutus on the specifics of this particular version rather than the one from yesterday. I'm not sure, and I'm not knocking other manufacturers because I know lots of them put time and effort into updating their software these days. I'm not sure anyone else has that facility that you can update the software in the middle of a field without any leads or anything like that. Anyway, so we're going to carry on and see what else we find with the new Versa software. And next up is about 5 or 6 inches down, reading a good sort of late 70s, a bit scratchy as a signal, and it's this thing, which I'm not really sure what it is. There seems to be some pattern on the back, heavy enough to be lead, but I don't think it is lead. token of some description, possibly. It's quite wide, so I don't think it's a coin or anything, but yeah, maybe a token or a weight. So we can clean that up later and see if there's anything more detail to it. And next up is a ring thing, but unfortunately not one of those ring things. One of those ring things. Came up in a very clear 54, about 3 inches down. So next up, from just down there, about 3 inches down, is the first coin of the day. Kind of sort of coin I expected to find, because we've got a pre-decimal, in this case half penny. In this case it's a pre-decimal George the 6th ship's half penny. Oops, on the floor. Yep, a ship's half penny. I've had a ship's half penny for a while. In reasonable nick, once it's cleaned up, no doubt. I am right in the middle of where the old building should have been, on here. So lots of brick, pottery and stuff around, but this is the first coin.